Hello, good evening, happy Sunday to everybody. I'm sure you saw the title. I actually was not going to talk about this because, I felt pretty stupid afterwards. I was blaming myself for a while, but my therapist said that I should not blame myself for other people's actions, especially when I had nothing but positive and pure intentions towards them. So I still wasn't planning on saying shit. But when I woke up this morning, Spirit told me it's time to talk about this because I'm healed. And I'm obedient to God. I'm obedient to Spirit. I'm obedient to Source, the universe, and the divine. I'm divinely guided, divinely led. So it's a reason why I'm supposed to talk about it, So yeah. Oh, also too, if my nipple pops out, she just want to say, hey, okay, the string is a little bit loose and it's too hot. Be trying to be tight as shit, okay? Especially with all this damn hair on. It was a struggle. Anywho, so what my therapist had me do was she had me, and I actually avoided this assignment. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, okay, suck it up. I went to seek help because although I have been sexually assaulted 7 other times, this one hit different and it was harder for me to heal. But what really pushed me to go and get the help that I needed was because after this incident, I actually met somebody that I liked, but I knew that I had to heal if I wanted a healthy relationship. So I sucked it up and I went and got the help. Instead of doing what I normally did with my other assaults, where I would just, tuck it in that room in the back of my head, not think about it, or over drink, over smoke as coping mechanisms and whatnot. I'm too old for that. At this big old age, when you know that you need help with something and you know that you've tried everything and it's not good enough, sometimes you have to put your pride to the side, no matter how efficient you may be in the job of healing or anything else. Sometimes you just have to go and seek help outside of yourself. It does not make you less of a person. It does not make you weak. It makes you actually strong and smart because you know your limits, all right? So my therapist, what she had me to do was she had me to recount the full events of the night that my ex sexually assaulted me. Yeah, this is also too why you should always stick to your morals and your beliefs. At this big old age, I don't do sneaky links, hookups and all that shit anymore. But, I was bored and horny, and this young man chased me down for months. I gave him a very hard time, and he just kept persisting, and I was like, okay, we just kept talking, and he seemed cool. We had the conversations on the phone, and he seemed cool. I'm talking about our first phone conversation lasted maybe over an hour, and it seemed like it was 5 minutes. So, energetically, the vibe was there. He was younger than me, as most of my exes are younger than me because I like younger men like me. I think it's an energy thing because, I'm not childish, but I'm childlike. I like to have fun, So she had me write this down, and as you guys, if you don't know by now, I am a very talented writer, okay? I'm an excellent storyteller, especially when it comes to the truth, because I'm dramatic. So I'm going to read this to you guys. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I had to write this really took me back to, the time. I just couldn't believe that this happened to me again. I couldn't. I was in shock. I couldn't believe, and it was somebody who I had some semblance of trust. Like, I knew he was a fuck nigga. I knew he was shit. But at this point, we had kind of, sort of had some kind of friendship. And I just wasn't expecting that from him. But here goes. My ex called me and told me he was outside. I knew he was trying to apply pressure to get back on my good side because he could feel that I was really done with him. The last few times we saw each other, I was just being there as a friend for emotional support, even though I knew he was a piece of shit. I had compassion for him because I knew he'd had a rough upbringing and I genuinely wanted the best for him. I had a soft spot for him also because our vibe when we were around each other normally was amazing. We could laugh and joke and be two big kids. I knew he was a little off in the head because sometimes he would say some crazy shit, but I always felt safe around him. He had told me once when I suggested he get therapy that I was his therapist. He would confide in me and tell me things that I knew he never told anyone else. And the night prior to the attack, he had asked me something about one of my past sexual assaults, and I told him. He appeared to become upset when I was telling him, as though he was visualizing it in his head. The night of the attack, when he randomly called and said he was stopping by and actually outside, took me by surprise. I let him in, thinking he wanted to talk, and we went into my bedroom because that is where I usually entertained him when my daughter was home. As soon as we went up in the room, he was all on me, hugging me tight and asking for a kiss. I told him no, because I'm not fucking with him like that anymore, because he was a hot ass mess. I told him to go kiss one of his dusty ass hoes, and he didn't like that. He said, I just want you. I said, well, that's too bad. You should have thought about that before you chose a dusty ass hoe over me. I don't play about my health, etc., etc. I told him all that shit like, nah, you chose them dusty assholes over me, because he was definitely flexing on the gram with these dusty females that looked as though they sold sexual favors in exchange for money, is what I'm going to say. And I'm not saying that as being a hater. If you'd have saw the pictures, you'd agree. But yeah, I don't play with my health. He insisted that I was his evil twin, and I looked at him and laughed. I said, I'm not evil, you are. Now get off me. I tried to put distance between us, and instead he picked me up and threw me over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, because he is way bigger than me. He probably got about 100 pounds on me. He you know what I'm saying? He's a big dude. Not fat. Well, he probably fat now, I don't know. But he was, you know, football player built. Put me down, I insisted. He decided to feel on my butt first, which normally would have turned me on. But, like I said, I was fucking with him, and I meant it. I had saw the what the fuck? Oh, I had saw the trash he had chosen to play in my face with, which was very rude, by the way, and did not make me feel jealous at all. Thinking that it would make me chase him, and it had absolutely, completely disgusted me and turned me off from him completely. He looked dirty to me now, as if those whores had sucked whatever light he had left in him out. Because before he used to be shining. After he actually took the hoes on a trip to Miami for the weekend. Told me he was taking his sister to Miami for his birthday. And then posted it. Yes, he did. I was amused, to say the least. I like the picture. Okay, anywho, where were we? He looked dull, and the life had left his eyes. I wanted no parts. He put me down on the bed and tried to get on top of me between my legs. We began to tussle, and of course, he would overpower me and force me to kiss him. As I said, he had about 100 pounds on me, or almost. I think my struggling was turning him on. He started trying to fiddle with his pants, and I was saying no, and get off of me, etc., etc. He stopped and said, okay, let me eat you out then. I said no. He pushed me back down on the bed and yanked at my shorts and panties in one good grip. Then he quickly put his head down there and started to munch. He's a skilled young man, and he knows I love me some head. But the passion was not there. It was gone. And when he looked up at me and saw me looking at him, he looked at me and I looked at him. He looked at me and I looked at him. And he saw me looking at him, not turned on. He quickly jumped up and put his whole body on me. All his body weight. I kept trying to push him off, but he has me by almost 100 pounds, as I said, so that didn't work. He got it in. You know what it is. It. Because while he was down there munching, he was, so he got it in and got a few good pumps. Then I skedaddled to the best of my ability, which of course pissed him off, as he started apologizing and telling me to come here real quick with his dick in his hand. I tried to move past him because I had hopped up in the corner in tragedy. I was cornered in the corner. He pushed me down face first and just shoved his dick in me. No aiming, nothing. And of course he missed and almost ripped my asshole apart. I screamed, but not too loud, because I didn't want to startle my daughter and he do anything crazy to her, because he also always carry around a gun or two. He just said, "Oh shit, my bad. Did I hurt you?" As he quickly took his dick out and rammed it in my before I could even react or respond. At that point, I think I entered a state of shock and disbelief, and I just stopped fighting and let my body go limp, like I was dead, essentially playing dead. And I think that's what made him snap out of it. As soon as he started backing away from me, I hopped up and created as much distance between the two of us as possible. He looked at me with a huge smile on his face and a gleam in his eye, and kept saying loudly, "Oh my gosh, did I just rape you? Did I just rape you?" He thought that shit was funny. He kept saying it with a big ass smile on his face. He thought that shit was really funny. He was really, really amused. I sat there literally open mouthed, like I was in shock, like dead ass. Like I was like, I just couldn't believe this shit happened. Complete shock and disbelief. He could tell that I wasn't listening to him, so he got louder, and I hopped up and ran into my bathroom and closed the door, which he directly opened up right behind me and ran right up on me. I looked at him and rolled my eyes and turned my back and began cleaning myself with my washcloth. He tried to walk up behind me again intimately, tried to all snuggle like we taking prom pictures and shit, and I pushed him away. I told him, "Get away from me." I decided to play cool so he would leave. So I said, "You're gonna give me an infection," because of course, he knew what I was talking about, because he had went from my ass to my vagina. I told him for the 100th time to get out. And this time he did, because he had successfully thought he achieved his mission of scaring me. He said, "Come walk me to the door." And I gladly did. As we were at the front door, he pushed me up against the wall and forced me to kiss him. He was holding my face. He was holding my face, right? Forced me to kiss him yet again, this time grabbing my face like he thought we were in a passionate romance novel. Then he grabbed my neck and choked me out a little bit, just enough for me to fear for my life. and said, "Don't you ever try to leave me again. I love you, girl. You better pick up when I call." And I did. However, the next morning, I came to my senses. You know, I think that was the first stage of Stockholm syndrome. Of Stockholm. Why the fuck I can't say that shit? Stockholm syndrome. I think I was in the first stages of Stockholm syndrome, where you fall for your abuser. It's like they got you. They got that mind control. They've sufficiently scared you to the point where you're complacent, you're obedient, right? He scared the fuck out of me. So when he called me after he left, I sure the fuck didn't pick up, because I did not want him to come back and kill me and my child. But when I woke up the next morning, it was like my spirit team, they snatched me the fuck up like, "No, bitch, no. What we are not doing is this." And I said, "You motherfucking right." And I blocked his numbers, which never stopped him before. I had blocked his numbers plenty of times. He would just call me any fucking way. But I blocked his numbers and I would not pick up. And so therefore, after that, he actually started to stalk me with assistance. He had a homeboy that lived in my apartment complex who actually did a tattoo for me, right? And I would always see the homeboy at the gas station. So I saw the homeboy at the gas station twice. And both times I was in my car. And both times the homeboy saw me and posted in his car and got on his phone, started talking. Maybe 5 minutes later, this nigga would show up, whipping it through the fucking parking lot. And what would I do? Oh, well, I'm tactical, galactical. I was law enforcement for 11 fucking years. They definitely taught us how to fucking drive. Bitch, I was whipped that shit right around his ass. He actually tried to corner me in a parking spot one of the times. He actually tried to. If I would have pulled off 5 seconds later, he would have successfully cornered me. But nah, Keisha don't play that. So I got the fuck up out of there. And then another time, I was picking up my daughter from work. And I got home to my apartment complex, and there were some very large bushes to the side. And as I was turning to go through the gate, this motherfucker peeled out from behind the bushes in his car. Because, the bushes were so big that you couldn't see if somebody was parked over there. He pulled out from behind the bushes in his car and boldly and brazenly parked his vehicle right beside me like shit was sweet. Wound down his window and was trying to holler at me with my daughter. And my daughter did not know anything about what happened. If she watches this, she will. This is my older daughter. And I just kept right the fuck on walking. I didn't say shit. I didn't acknowledge him or anything. I just kept walking. And then some months passed. To months where I think he was like, okay, maybe shit'll die down now. Maybe be good now, because we used to be off and on. That's why I don't do that toxic bullshit anymore. If I cannot be your woman, I cannot be your anything. I don't got time for these fucking games, okay? But yeah, after a few months, he decided to call me again, blocked, and I actually thought it was my daughter. So I answered it, and it was him. And he tried to act like nothing happened. And he had the audacity to say to me, "You still mad about that shit? Man, come on." And then had the audacity after that to ask me if he could buy some of my spiritual products, because I had given him some of my body butters previously for money and for protection, and they work very well, by the way. And karma was whooping his ass after he broke my trust. It gave me a bacterial infection because he put his dick in my ass and then in my pussy, so I had to go get, you get an infection with that. Yeah, after he did all of that, he really thought shit was sweet. So I had to let him know. Not at all. No, you were wrong. Fuck you. Go back to less, since that's what you like. And for a while, because that happened about a year ago. Over a year ago, actually, now. Actually, it happened over a year ago now. But, I was just coping during that time. Well, I didn't really realize at first the effect that it had on me, but then I started realizing that anytime I would go out in public, I would be paranoid. Anytime I saw a vehicle that looked like his, I'd be paranoid. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't feel safe in my neighborhood. Okay, all kinds of shit. All kinds of shit. I did not feel safe anywhere because he knew everybody around where I lived. He actually used to stay in the complex that I stayed in when we first met. So he knew everybody around there. He had people fucking watching me and shit. I was so paranoid a few times. I was driving and I thought I saw him driving. One time I really think it was him, okay, and the car turned around and started following me and I had to I don't know if it was him or not, but you know, the paranoia was so deep. And then I started, whenever I would go out, I would you know, dress kind of like to disguise myself, which I'm getting out of that now, but I still was doing that for a long time, you know, just paranoid because I didn't want him to see me, recognize me, because he kind of ignorant, so you know, he'd be the type that would show his ass in public if he was to see me. And also too, previously before, he had told me another time when I had stopped dealing with him, he told me he was going to kidnap me, rape me, and slit my throat. So, you know, when he said that shit, I was like, damn. But I took him seriously, especially after what he did. And that definitely was a learning experience for me because hurt people. And sometimes, you know, when you know somebody's fucked up, you just gotta leave them alone. Sometimes some people don't deserve compassion, especially based off of all the things that I knew about him that he had told me. He's just not a good person. He was a good person towards me until he didn't get his way. And unfortunately, a lot of times there are guys that will do that. There are girls that will do that also. You know, I blame myself for the longest. I'm like, damn, I'm psychic and I didn't see that shit come in. But that's not the way being psychic works. If you were to know everything that was going to happen, how would you be able to live life in a way where you learn your lessons and you grow? You wouldn't be able to. Life would be empty, you know? And I always used to ask God why I go through these things. But you know, he told me a long time ago that I was going to have to go through these experiences so that I can help others. And this one, like I said, it was very hard for me because I was there for this guy in some of his darkest hours. As a friend, I had even spent the night with him. No sex, no nothing, just because he needed a friend. And with all the people he hung around, I was the only person that he felt safe with. You know, I'd been there for him so many times, and he was never there for me, honestly. I remember one time I asked him to hang up a curtain rod for me. He said, all right. I ain't hear from him for like a month. Then he was like, well, you got that done? Bitch, I did it myself. I'm tired of men like that. You know, ladies, don't be a dumbass like I was. Okay, I've made all the mistakes so that you guys don't have to. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. You know, sometimes some people don't deserve compassion. Just saying, use your discernment. When somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Sometimes we put our faith in the wrong things, and I had to learn that lesson the hard way a few times in every different sense of the meaning of the word. But you know what? I survived to tell the story. Although I'm officially diagnosed with PTSD and severe anxiety, it's not just from him. It's from my children's fathers as well, you know. But it's okay to get therapy, get help. There's certain things that, you know, we just can't handle on our own. It's okay to get help. All right? Don't worry about what other people think. And heal. Healing is important because you don't want to become like the people who hurt you. You don't. And that's their goal. When people set out to intentionally hurt you, that's their goal because they want to dim your light. They don't want you to be happy. So many times he would talk to me about the fucked up shit that he would do to people, And I'd be like, why? And he'd be like, it happened to me. If you meet anybody that has that kind of mindset, run. Because they'll do it to you. Woo, I thought that was going to be tough to get out. It really wasn't. Shit. It only took me a year and some months. It only took me like, what? 13 months to talk about it to somebody besides my therapist. But I'm proud of myself. And you guys, don't judge me. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm just bold enough to say mine out loud because I don't give a fuck. Okay? It is what it is. I survived to tell the story. Thank you. If you made it through this whole video, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. And hopefully it can help somebody else so that they don't make the same mistakes that I did. Have a wonderful, beautiful, and blessed Sunday. I love you all immensely. Also, too, if you would like to check out my, I have a whole series that I made about my previous sexual assaults. It's on my YouTube, Empress Oracle 333. You're gonna have to scroll down because I actually did those videos about 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was a while ago. You can just type it in the search bar and it should pop up. But every one of my sexual assaults happened a different way. A different way. Every single one. And majority of them was with people I know. It'd be the ones that you know. Check those out. Check me out. But have a wonderful day. I love you all. I gotta go.